And it's like when there's technological difficulties that we have to transverse through. Let me tell this computer, I got it. So, yeah, maybe you had some funny incident this morning. I hope so. Is that you they started off with, "Oh, that was interesting," and you just sort of laughed. I had mine. A simple button, strategically hidden, so that one has to uh, look around and call assistance. How many Dharma students do I need to find a simple button? There's got to be a metaphor in there somewhere. If we could just find that simple button. And reading from another master, it comes to my mind as I saw the clouds upon the mountain this morning. I looked out, they were hovering low. That simple button that turns us around, loving kindness and compassion. More and more we can see. Sometimes it seems so far away, but it's oh so much needed. Loving kindness and compassion. And as you can see, as I always know, is when teachers come, a whirlwind of dynamic activity ensues, near and far. I'm still recovering. Stuffy nose in my head, and it's like, oh my goodness, I feel like I went on a fantastic ride, and now it came to a stop, and you go, oh, okay. But it was a fantastic ride, and whether you were able to meet directly with Rinpoche or not, he was in the environment, and the whole environment gets affected or affected one way or another in a positive way. And I think, as I said earlier, looking for that simple button that is swift and loving kindness and compassion spontaneously comes forth. Someone asked me, what did you absorb from your time spent with your teacher? And I said, one, practice more with loving kindness and compassion for the benefit of all sentient beings. If we could just accomplish that, it would be wonderful. Something that I saw in a roundabout way addressing a question I think that is pertinent to all of us. And it takes me back to something that Lama Kazi said many, I can say decades ago. Dharma is not a facade or a veil to shun being a human being. What the Buddha taught was how to embrace our humanness in all of its aspects. Sometimes we enter into the Buddhist path and we think, oh, now I must become this sort of fabrication of myself, and I must put on robes or walk in a certain way, talk in a certain way. I can't do this certain anymore. We stop being human and we try to arrive at this high piety of falsity. So you may not know this, Pino Rinpoche. If we look like Buddhists and talk like Buddhists and sit on cushions like other Buddhists, then we think we are automatically follower of the Buddhist teachings. But all these concepts are cutting us off from the utterly simplicity of the Buddha's example and message. We do what we do simply to wake up, simply to be free. Any form we use is only a support of accomplishing that purpose. We can be perfect in the performance of accomplishing that purpose. We could be perfect in the performance of 1,000 rituals, and they could all be empty of all meaning or benefit if we don't connect with our heart. If we're not developing our awareness in our everyday life, then we're missing the point. Justin Pinochet, his words. And it sounds so familiar, what I've heard with Kamikaze. And from Guru Rinpoche, the necessity to hear the words and ingest them and allow them to, I'll use my T's, allow them to transport you, to transform you, so that you may transcend and arrive at the awakened evolution of the self-existing consciousness. If that is not occurring, then we are like the first actor, supposedly, Hippocrates, meaning hypocrisy. And that is not going to be of any benefit to anyone. So have you taken the Dharma truly into your heart and awakened to living as a compassionate, loving, kind, joyous human being? This is who the Buddha was. The reading last night. And the Buddha, believe me, had hardships. Look and read the stories of the Buddha's life and what was done to shield him from his humanness. And sometimes I think we fall into the hypocrisy that the Dharma is going to shield us from being human beings in all of its various aspects. And I think perhaps those have been practicing for a while that you already know. It seems the more you practice, the more things seem to arise and you go, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that was there. It's like the rug is pulled back and all the crumbs that we swept underneath are revealed. This is a good thing, that we recognize and can see the beauty of being a human being that is filled with loving kindness and compassion. So these are really the things, not hearing, and I've had this done many times. In fact, this morning, if you want to Google something, Google Tuku Urban Rinpoche, Nagi Gampa. Oh, I saw my home this morning and the clouds and that tree and the prayer flags, and I could hear any doma or any chewing, chanting. So I didn't have time to look at it, but I will look at it later. But again, being with all of these great teachers, and always I think, oh, just the bug, just to be their servant, and seeing what always they exhibited, loving kindness and compassion, and their humanness. And at any moment, no matter how things may be, they always laughed. So I try to emulate them in some fashion. So as I started off, I hope you laughed this morning. And if you haven't, then you have homework to do. You have to laugh. You cannot go to bed before you laugh heartedly at some absurdity, I hope. So I hope you walked away with a sense of being on the right path. And that on that path, as I say to the actors, we say, at any moment, be ready to fall on your face. Make mistakes. And as my dad said, if you're going to make a mistake and get in trouble, make it worthwhile. Don't play around, but be safe. That's our BL. Have fun, be safe. So do not be afraid of living life. Even I said to myself last night, sitting on my seat, I've lived a good life. Yes, it's been ups and downs, and there's been struggles and this, that, and the other. But when I look at it in its totality, I have been blessed, and so have you. You never would have thought. Here you are sitting in Salt Lake City, Ogden, Murray, Sandy, all of the alphabet letters. And you've met so many Tibetan teachers, authentic Tibetan teachers, and not have them going anywhere. They just come to you. Wow, you guys have some karma. And it's been happening for the last 20 odd years, wouldn't you say, or more so, Lamala. We've seen so many teachers, we can't even remember them all. And there are people in India, in Nepal, in Sikkim, in Tibet. They have to go through many hardships and travels to meet a lot of these teachers. And you just open the door and they just walk right in. We are blessed. So absorb and allow those blessings to flower, and that your loving kindness and your compassion for all sentient beings becomes the real power of change. So enough said about that. The main thing I had been thinking for this week, and while Rinpoche was here and we were talking, as the war continues to rage within and without, within the people of Ukraine, with the people of Russia, and the people of the whole planet. And even this morning, briefly, as I think Zelensky was talking, on the verge of World War III. It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, but we're living that reality, that we're at the precipice of how things may go. I would like to think that cooler heads will prevail, as they say, and that things will calm down at a costly investment of many lives of young and old, and children and babies, and etc. And I'm sure you must either may feel helpless, or you may say, what can I do? There are a group of women, ordinary women, who decided they are healthcare workers, that they're going to go to Ukraine, and they're going to be of best service that they can, and staying as safely as they can. But they're just going to go and leave their families because they feel compelled to do so. Personally, I don't have that resource, and I don't know if I could be any help in that respect anyway. But I thought, what is it that we can do? So today, I believe it's Sojong, or closely there to it. So when we do Sojong today, I think, just imagine, if you've seen the pictures, it's like something out of World War II, or things that we saw in Afghanistan, or that we saw in Kosovo, trenches with body bags piled one on the top of another, big ones and small ones. And we know that some are babies and some are children, and all various degrees they're within. So then I thought, what can we do when you do your practice? We must pray for those consciousness that have been taken in such violent and abrupt ways. So to pray for the consciousness of all of those individuals that have died, both Russian and Ukrainian, and who knows how many others, or all the animals that have also died and are dying. So when we do Long Vajrasattva, may they all be liberated from the cause of their suffering in their lives to come, if one follows that belief. And may they meet with the causality that brings about happiness and liberation and the elevation and the recognition of the enlightened consciousness, where the key or the button that moves the cursor is loving kindness and compassion. So this is what I have been thinking about, working on, Rinpoche and I have been praying upon, is that at the same time, we cannot acquiesce to being helpless, because we're not. We may not be there on the front line and having rockets and bombs and tanks in our face and falling and have our lives in immediate danger, at least not in that situation. but in our own environments where we are right now, the possibility of the abruptness of the termination of one's existence is always at hand. So I hope you appreciate the preciousness, as I said to someone, the preciousness of the moment to moment existence that we're blessed with. I know that you do, but if you don't, I'm just not talking to you. I'm reminding myself, brushing my teeth, impermanence and death, impermanence and death. Looking into the mirror at my own eyes, impermanence and death, impermanence and death. But at the same time, joyousness in life, joyousness. Yes, Master Ian, you understand. Your hair should rise up. So you can be enamored, and many people are enamored with Dharma, bells and whistles and threads, but like river rocks, bone dry inside. It reminds me, and we will return to the teachings of Marpa, not Marpa. You don't want to meet Marpa. He will get rid of all of your negativities. But Bipon Rinpoche, and it's about Bipon Rinpoche, he was so fantastic. In his latter years, his health was failing, but he could teach, practice, and write all at the same time. He would do. He was quite fantastic, quite special. So I was about to say that thought just poof, returning. Okay, it came back. Have you cracked the shell of ignorance and awakened from the alaya veil of darkness and fooled ourselves with the flicker of Dharma? And have we actually pulled the stake of clinging out? But this is what Pino Rinpoche is talking about, pulling the stake out. Meaning that one does not fear living, one does not fear dying, one does not fear what arises and dwells and ceases within being a human being, and that one exhibits loving kindness and compassion in the smallest of ways that are unseen. Again, I'm just talking to myself. Take a breath in, please. Breathe out and just rest your mind. Dogen Zenji said, just sit. No tricks. Dogen Ibn Rinpoche, he says, yes, we practice and follow the profound teachings, but sometimes chasing after the bubbles and the shiny pebbles, we miss the essence of just to be. Breathing out again. So Guru Vijay, my view, he says, my view and practice is as fine as flour, which means he paid attention to the doing of what he was doing. But his view was as high as the flight of the vulture. And those two have to be coordinated, or the two must intersect with a certain harmony. Doing what you do without attachment to what you do, but do it. And as you're doing it, remain in the unfabricated, infinite state of awareness, which is a backwards way of saying remain, which means you left, but you never left. And where can you remain from where you never left if you were already there? So it's merely recognizing that it is ever present. I was reading last night. The infinite primordial awakeful quality is ever present. So I got to see his name this morning. I see his face every day, right? All of them, they just are talking in my head. So many voices in my head. No wonder I couldn't find the switch to move the cursor. It's so funny. Anyway, enough of my babbling. Again, I hope your day is pleasant and will continue to arrive as such. Rinpoche thoroughly enjoyed his visit here, and we are already looking when he will come in the next few months. But as he was here, it was interesting, again, one last part. As he was here, at least 3 people passed of varying ages. And we both said some were younger than us and some were older than us. And here we are just standing in the middle. Sooner or later, our turn will come also. And hopefully there will be someone there that knows how to exact the proper rituals and guide us to our next life. What more could you ask for? Take a breath in, please. Do not close your eyes or hold your tears. When you see pregnant women and small babies and their limbs and arms, and they no longer will be able to fulfill their years. Their tiny bears and strollers, and even their phones have been taken away, and they no longer have homes. Do not look away, and do not stop your tears, but let it fortify you, so that you will never give up, striving to realize in your present years. Rest your mind. And we can say, Lama Kino, Lama Kino, Lama Kino, Lama Kino. May the Lama that resides within rises up and sits upon the crown of my head, manifesting in the form of Guru Rinpoche, which is the embodiment of all of the enlightened ones of past, present, and future. All of one's teachers. You have many teachers that you have come in contact with, but they're all nothing more than manifestations of Guru Rinpoche. So maybe you caught that in this last visit, but being able to sit with Guru Rinpoche manifesting as Jojo Rinpoche. There was one time I was sitting and going, oh, he is Guru Rinpoche. How fortunate we are. So you can easily say, most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessings that will free and ripen my mind, so that I may realize as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. Most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessings that will free and ripen my mind, so that I may realize as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. Most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessings that will free and ripen my mind, so that I may realize as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. Namo lama lagam zojo zenge lagam zojo jo lagam zojo geram lagam zojo lama lagam zojo zenge lagam zojo lagam zojo lama lagam zojo zenge lagam zojo jo lagam zojo geram lagam zojo lama lagam zojo zenge lagam zojo lagam zojo geram lagam zojo zenge lagam zojo jo lagam zojo geram lagam zojo lama lagam zojo zenge lagam zojo jo lagam zojo geram lagam zojo lama lagam zojo geram lagam Lama laga zujo, zenge laga zujo, jo laga zujo, gena laga zujo, lama laga zujo, zenge laga zujo, jo laga zujo, gena laga zujo, lama laga zujo, zenge. Gena laga zujo, lama laga zujo, zenge laga zujo, jo laga zujo, gena laga zujo, lama laga zujo, zenge laga zujo, jo laga zujo, gena laga zujo. Zenge laga zujo, jo laga zujo, gena laga zujo, lama laga zujo, zenge laga zujo, jo laga zujo, gena laga zujo. Sing it like it's a joke, like it's a joke, get it like it's a joke, like it's a joke, sing it like it's a joke, like it's a joke, get it like it's a joke, like it's a joke. Get it like it's a joke, like it's a joke, sing it like it's a joke, like it's a joke, get it like it's a joke, like it's a joke, sing it like it's a joke, like it's a joke, get it like it's a joke. So then you want to feel no matter what happens, one has taken refuge in Nama Buddha Dharma Sangha. Again, Rinpoche told many stories that exhibited and pointed out the faith and the trust and the devotion that students, high and low, have to Lama, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, even at the expense of the giving of their own life. Again, Lama Kazi Rinpoche would tell us stories about his homeland, how this had happened in Sikkim, in Tibet. So these are not just stories, but actual things that have occurred. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Sentient beings are infinite. I vow to liberate them. I don't know about you, but my delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. So just in this one paycheck, imagine if you actually put that into practice. See what happens if you fully commit to doing that. Then all of the bodhisattvas assemble. Tenden jamye larun rambe ba yeje ba dera da de tenden dhumbe taje blebe wa de wa de ba ge ba za za lo jamba junur banden oje zen zen re zen wan gumbo tambe ba sa ying nembo jumba namba za nanga tembo ba jo nyondo zo Uba doji marga don dobo marwa didre namayi Tazen namnam taje maje jo tanzo sumba jeva tazaro Renjen toju taje turi nga tunzo tomo namo nama Nindan tamdam banza maje Binur namzen mango nugo Renden doje geje tazen zen doje gawa tenden geje ma Jizun duwa tembe tapewe taje namo gula tazalu Samba tembo tunzon temebo Midon dondan gambo tondon zon Bangye tondon zungwa teneza Nando tede tede golo Doze Bardan Dondon Doje Jen Baran Dodo Gije Taze Jen Sazo Nizo Gile Taze Be Denje Jowa Lula Tazato Ado Denje Jowa Zumbola Giden Jowa Zumwa Dondo Ne Dondo Gaba Zendo Neshedo ye de le bonzo don da do da do de de mo bo la ge dan je wa dun tu ne dun dun da ba dun dun ye je do da je de le bonzo don ba do da do jen je je wa dun bo la ge de je wa bonzo ne dun dun ba ba Zendo Nieje Du Daje de le Dondo Soma Jo Zonam Jele Gele Jon De Jon Je Be Zong Go La Gumbo Ganyan Ba Jen Jon Jen Lo Jige Song Duwa Da Da Samba Yi Sange Do Dang Ge Don La Chanjo Nimbo Jige Ba Da Ba Da Ne Kam Jing Shirab Nenze Danje Be Zong Be Jen Jen Jon Do Da Zange Jon Do Nege Je Jon Be Jen Jo Jen Ge Jeze Namga Namba Dan Do Wa Jeze Nego Ba Jeze Do Je Nego Ne Do Wa Derga So Wa So Jonam Tamje Gile Jon De Jon De Le Zon Go La Go Mo Ganye Ba Jin Jon Jembo Jige Zon Do Wa Dan Da Samba Yi Sange Do Dan Ge Don La Jan Jo Nebo Jige Ba Da Ba Da Ne Gab Zo Je Jirab Nanze Dan Je Be Son Be Chen Jen Jon Do Da Zange Don Do Ne Ge De Jon Be Jen Jo Chen Ge Do Jeze Namga Nama Dan Do Wa Jeze Nego Ba Jeze Do Je Nego Ne Do Wa De Ge Zo Wa Zo Jo Nam Tam Je Ge Le Jon De Jon Je 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 Be Jon Go La Gun Bo Ganye Ba Jin Jon Jen Bo Je Ge Jon Do Wa De Da Zamba Ye San Ge Do Dan Ge Don La Jan Do Ne Bo Je Ge Ba Da Ba Da Ne Ge Zo Je Je Ra Ne Je Dan Je Be Jon Be Jin Je Jon Do Da San Ge Don Do Ne Ge Je Jon Be Jin Jo Sen Ge Do Jeze Nanga Nama Dan Do Wa Jeze Ne Go Ba Jeze Do Je Ne Go Ne Do Wa Derga Se Wa So. So again, have the thought. It's like we have merit and wisdom. Merit is a catalyst that carries us forward to develop that wisdom. So it is through our actions. So the merit is the positive actions that arise from the motivation of loving kindness and compassion that the blessings are able to come. So through one's good actions that we create the circumstances. And out of the creating of those good circumstances and the blessings, then the awakened nature that's self-arisen is recognized. So that's the wisdom component. So we need both. But then I thought, at least when we practice now, keep nothing of the merit. That's why at the end of the practice, the Rinpoche went through again, maybe you caught it. But first, there has to be the proper motivation and intent. And that arises from having loving kindness and compassion, and that one engages in the practice of Dharma to be of benefit for all sentient beings by that recognition within this very life in our particular tradition. But as one engages in that, do so without any grasping, clinging, altering, changing, etc., to what one is doing. So it's done from a state of complete openness. And when one has concluded, whatever has been done is offered up and keeping nothing for yourself. So when we practice today, may all of the merit go to all of those who have died in this senseless killing, and all of those who continue to suffer throughout all of the realms of the samsaric existence. Dagi Junzi, Zagi Renjun, Zergi Mundu, Zongi Junjun, Ba, Zergi Lumbo, Chewa, Chepegu, Zagi Gobu, Zula, Za, Bo, Dayata, Omene, Mune, Maha, Mune, Yesu. 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 Omene, Mune, Maha, Mune, Yesu. Omene, Mune, Maha, Mune, Yesu. Then we can visualize that all sentient beings, including ourselves, receiving the blessing of all of the enlightened Buddhists of the past and present and future. And in our heart space is the sphere of the empty blue bindu. And within that, there's a moon disk upon which a white syllable R, radiant, filling the body from within. It is the light of loving kindness and compassion that goes out in the 10 directions, touching all sentient beings, those who are living, those who are about to die, those who have died. May they all be liberated. May the oppressed and the oppressor be liberated. And those who are causing great suffering, may their hearts open at this very moment with loving kindness and compassion. Visualize that you're drawing in, like we can see the black smoke rising from the places where people lived ordinary and normal and hopefully happy lives. Now they are burnt out shells, guttered, fragmented and blown and falling to the ground. And these people now no longer have a home. They're wandering about trying to escape the tyranny of that place. Take in that type of suffering and then give out all of your wonderful qualities. Tonlen, practice. Have the thought that your intentions have manifested based on your motivation. And even if only for a brief nanosecond, all sentient beings have been liberated from suffering and cause of suffering, that they all have been blessed with happiness and the cause of happiness. And may they never be separated from that quality, whether it is near or far. Then as you breathe out, recognize the intrinsic nature of your own wakefulness is inseparable from that of the enlightened ones. That there's no difference. The only difference is the awakened ones stabilize and stay. We have short glimpses and stray. Rest. As you breathe out, nothing lost, nothing gained. Deje jeje konje tunje tanze bab nune konje nube tu lama yeje ebra tezorwa. Dene daze doje jowa sho deba chanje leza da jowa bunzon sumpa ja benje tsende yunzo do. Dene zenge temba yen gewa je nedu du sangi karbo tuju ne towa nenu nenu ba. Dene zela gyu ba yo. Örgen yoji nanzan zambe ma geza dombola yazen joji godu ne be ma june zazura godu gando mambo gurge ge zazu darugi genje la je zazu guru be ma zide o örgen yoji nanzan zambe ma geza dombola Yazen joji godu ne me ma june zazura. Vudur gando ma bogur gege zazu darugi. Genje baje zazu zu guru bema sede o. Ongurgen yuji nanzan zan bema geza dombola. Yazen joji godu ne bema june zazura. Gando ma Gegi Zazu Darugi. Genji Laje Zazu Guru Pama. Imao Jojo Togi Gengi Zangam Zojone Dojo Gaga Mebe Jojo Dojo Jewa Jambogo. Naga Zendo Doje Dore Me Lama Tuge Gula Duade. Organ Bema Jone La Duade. Deje Luge Drumbe Zangam Zo Kunzo Yoda Yoden Jolegi. Yeje Gende Jowa Jelego Doje Jera Nezo Zozo. Lama Dozo Kula Zuade. Organ Bema Jone La Zuade. Vize Dende Dembe Zangam Zo Doje Jambo Joe Gala Gando Darge Tontoze. The Dan Majo Dada Dunzungi Lama Jube Gula Zuade. Uriemba Majo Nela Sowade. Gunzo no Zangera Vidaze. Bemagera Nina Zozora. Zujo Gamran Durdunga Zozo. Gandala Mandama Zuade. Zembe Zembe Dorje Durnendo. Doja Dondo Nobe Doriana. Nobe Tombe Tosungi. Gode Gozo Tobe Nojemba. Reme Ozo Shala Zoade. Sejen Gujen Dola Drese de Dreme Ozo Dende Dozo. Oza Donje Namge Najo. Jemi Ling Shetla Zoade. Duzun Kungim Pema Jenige. Zedo Dubo Uzo Gudo. Sange Lembe Gimbe Bejonzo. Gunzo Zembe Shetla Zoade. Unmen Jogi Yinge Bodanga. Duzo Sange Goje Goduge. Ranzem Gogo Gudo Zebe. Zoe Lame Namla Zoade. Riro Menjogi Yogi Bodando. Duzo Sange Goji Goge. Renzem Gogo Zozu Dunzeba. Zoe Lame Shala Zoade. Gyowa Gandu Yandan Lama Dandro Mejogi Balalo Jojan Sadana Jawandro Nizone Doji Jenji Go Banglo Tu So Uma 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 Garobari. Peace. Cleansing. Om a a I I u re 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 e e o hanga gaga gaga nga zada zada nga tada tada na tada tada na ba 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 ma ya wa sha ga sana sha ome dan ma hitu parva wa hitu daga ta haya wa tu daga sa yun ro wa he amine ma sono na so ha Bandra sama ya za mango Ritsa Ramane Bhava Taye Soha Badra Samaya Za Mango Badra Amrita Kundale Hana Te. So now you visualize Doji Sempa, Vajratopa, and all of the peaceful and wrathful deities come and be present. Surrounding in the Honde, Uzo Dobe Lama, Danitube, Gonja, Joge, Gabo, Dojo, Tutsi Gario Mezawa, Mebe, Guno, Gondenam, Gabaza, Sama, Sange, Dodan, Joge, Jonama, Genjo, Badu, Dani, Gabsuji, Daji, Zenzoge, Bezo, Nange, Jola, Benze, Zenge, Jobajo. Sange do dan zoge do nama chenzo badu dan de gamzoje. Taji den zoge be do nange do la benze sange do nanjo. Sange do dan zoge do nama chenzo do dan de gamzoje. Taji den zoge be do nange do la benze sange do bajo. Sange do dan zoge do nama chenzo badu dan de gamzoje. Taji den zoge be do nange Jola Pinje Senge Joba Za Mamu Lojena Rala Tempa Gu. Then we make a protective circle, just Oma Soha Oma Soha Then invoke all of the beneficial entities and moments and individuals who have come to be of help. Bada Mahazwe Haragar Dene Doje Turwa Guru Ese Ram Ya Zarva Tuto Zarva Dama Zube Zuto Hon Dume Nende Dembe Rundo Jene Gejewe Nando, Toro, Fodo, Doro, Dumbo, Bunzo, Zombo, Dajen, Gozo, Jembo, Uma, Bune, Pate, Saparida, La, Satsum, Hadza, Sada, Na, Pa, Teje, De, Bana, Naja, Namo, Sabada, Yumishu, Mugude, Sabada, Mugute, Saparan, and in the Kamazoa. Mamo Zavada gata vayu miju mugude, Sava datum gate, Sapa ran, Amen the Kamazoa. Mamo Zavada gata vayu miju mugude, Sava datum gate, Sapa ran, and the Kam. So ha. The Kana na ne la do do do. Do do de ge de da do da na. Da do do mo da da ge do de ge da do ga da na de la do mo da ge do da. Dume pate gaje gata. And when we think of the obstructors, whether it is manifestations of Mada, Nagas, Rakshas, etc., then we think, oh, I want them to go away. No, I want them to come. Please come now. I have some offerings for you, and I want to liberate you into the highest aspect because you too have the enlightened qualities. So stop making trouble. Then there is some lines in the sun that says, but if you don't stop making trouble, then we have to have a more serious conversation. Oh, Bata Mahasri Haraga. Oh, Dene Doji Tolwa, good. It's a Ram, Ram. Zarba dudo, zarba dharma zorbe zudo tende nende nende rumba je neje je geje we no do tormo. Kando doro numbo punzo zombo daje ngazo jembo lu. Oma hum. Zarubutoga zara za, zarubutoga zara za, zarubutoga zara za. Saba megene namo saba tataga tabayu mishu mugude saba tatanga te saparana iranam gurihana iram balinda taye soha. Saba megene namo saba tataga tabayu mishu mugude saba tatanga te saparana iram garanam gurihana iram balinda taye soha. Saba megene namo saba tataga tabayu mishu mugude saba tatanga te saparana iram garanam gurihana iram balinda. So then, as we were stating earlier, when you say Sinjin, these lines, that you really are going to develop loving kindness and compassion, that you really are going to develop joyousness and equanimity for the benefit of all sentient beings. Sinjin Jamje Jowa Dang, Jowa Gunda Tuba Guji, Tungan Tuge Gunda Tuba Guji. Donge me be demba da me de wa goje ne de wa ne se be me da nemba goje. Tenjen janje de wa gonda do wa goje donge da do ge gonda do wa goje. Donge me be demba da me de wa goje ne de wa ne se be me da nemba goje. Senjen jamje juwa da do wa gunda do wa goje dunga da do ge gunda do wa goje donge me be da me de wa goje nire tenda da de wa ne se be me la namba goje ze ta so lan je janje juwa da je zo ring ne do je juwa yi I'll offer everything up. Saji Boji Georgia Middle Drum Rivalins and it is and Bagi Zenge Zende Middle Bobayi Tongan and the Zinda Jubajo Idan Randa Madrulaga Meda Diane Saji Boji Georgia Middle Drum Rivalins and it is and Bagi Zenge Zende Middle Bobayi Tongan Zinda Jubajo Idan Randa Madrulaga Nada Diane Saji Boji Georgia Middle Drum Rivalins and it is and Bagi Zenge Zende Middle Bobayi Dogen the Zinda Juba Joe, in the random Mandalagan, the Diane, Zaji Boja, Georgia, Middle, Rivers, and it doesn't buggy. Stingers in the middle way, doggers in the Juba Joe, in the random Mandalagan, that Taya, Badrozato Zamaya, Manu Papaya, Badrozato Renova. Did you do Mebova, Dudogaya Mebova, Dudogaya Mebova, Anaratum Mebova. So was it in every other Zaragama Zuzum, sitting Guru. Sara da da ga da varana nemu da benze bava mahasamaya satua umarasatus manovalaya badruzaru denova dedudu mebova sudogaya mebova sudogaya mebova Anoradu mebova zavaziri mebreya zaragama zuzame situm sirum guru aho bhagavan Sara da da ga da varana nemu da benze bava mahasamaya satua So we do the short doji simple, and then we just go Vajra Samaya Za. Then the doji simple, Vajra Topa, Jamcha Perika, and the Samata Badra all appear. Kunduzumpo, Kunduzummo all appear in front of us. Adani Dhamma Jiru Mur Vada Dava Jiru Ne Nama Doje Kaza Nunjo Jobagu Doje Doje Ne Madri Jola Zazu Demba Jon Jojo Dabo Jola Zap Jeje Zona Bada Don 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 Dawa Dembede Oye dama gege gu daba gege durwe Janyam de ro dudu ne dudu janja zenge jen Karwa dada zamba ye dada kanzo zenge ge Lada numo dulu ne do drudu ne do drudu Magazawa Sedu Zum Badru Satu Samaya Manobalaya Badru Satu Denova Dedu Mebova Sudovaya Mebova Subogaya Mebova Anadu Mebova Zawaziri Mebreya Saragama Sudame Situm Sudim Guru Home Oh Bhagavan Savada Gada Varumanim Dona Zamaya Zadu Adum Badru Satu Samaya Manobalaya Badru Satu Denova Dedu Mebova Sudovaya Logaya Mabova, Hanarado Mabova, Zovazede, Mebrea, Sarakamba, Sutumesitum, Guru, Sarada Gada Badra, Manimuzo, and the Boa Mahasamaya Zadu, Santo Samaya, Manuvalaya, Mazuzadu, Denova, Tudogaya Mabova, Zubogaya Mabova, Hanarado Mabova, Zovazede, Mebrea, Sarakamba, Sutumesitum, Guru. Stada da 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 baru mane muzo benze bawa na samaya satua badu satu samaya manu bada ya badu saru denu badu du nabu wasu do gaya nabu wasu do gaya anara do nabu wasu wazire nebe ya do saru denu sedum sedum guru hum ha ho bhagavan sawa da 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 baru benze bawa na samaya satua satu samaya manu badu saru denu badu du nabu wasu do gaya nabu wasu do gaya nabu Siddham Siddham Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Savada Tagantha Madhurana Mudhante Bhavana Samaya Sattva Madhurana Manobalaya Badhu Sadhu Deno Bhade Dujadu Nabhova Sudhu Gaya Nabhova Sudhu Gaya Nabhova Hanaradu Nabhova Savva Siddhi Mepaya Sara Siddham 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 Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Savada Tagantha Madhurana Mudhante Bhavana Samaya Sattva Nanobada Yabadu Zadu, Denobadi Judu, Nabu Wazudo, Gayo, Nabu Wazudo, Gayo, Nabu Wazudo, Zedum Zedum Guru Hung Ha, O Bhagavan Zavada, Gadu Zadu, Denobadi Judu. Zavada Gadu Vadu, my name was over the Bava Mahazama Yazatu. Anuradana Bova Zavazin, the Rayators are the Mazuda, Guru. With the Bava Mahazama Yazatu, but the Zaduzama Yamano, Yabatu, there was it in the Rayators are the Mazuda, Samayazado, Adam Badruzado, Zamayamano, Vadaya. So just to refresh, in front of you, Doji Senpa, single or Yamyam. In the head of Doji Senpa is Chamchap Heraka, surrounded by all of the 52 wrathful deities, with the marking of, in the heart space of the deity is the Tsi Surubo Ah, radiant light going out so that compassionate, wrathful nature goes out to dispel all negativity. In the heart of Doji Senpa, Vajratopa, is Kunduzompo, or Samantha Bhadra, Samantha Bhadri, and again, in their heart is the seed Surubu Ah. The 100th syllable mantra is encircling that Ah in their heart, going clockwise in both the upper and the lower aspect. From the total body of Doji Senpa and Vajratopa, the wrathful nature and the peaceful nature of loving kindness and compassion is radiating out in the 10 directions, dispelling all negativity. And specifically for me, I think liberating those consciousness that have died in this conflict and lying those bodies in those plastic bags in those graves is these, may their consciousness rise up and may they be liberated from the suffering in which that has been perpetrated upon them. And may they find happiness in their lives to come. As I said earlier, in our practice, may we reap none of the benefit, but it goes all to those individuals, both Ukrainian and both Russian and both leaders of these countries who are in conflict, and hopefully they will find some resolution to bring it to an end. One part I forgot to say. You might say, well, who am I now? You are the Bodhisattva. And sometimes it says we can imagine ourselves to be the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra. And even if we're at the 10th level, which you may be, I don't know, maybe we're at the first level, it doesn't matter. It's just that who is it that engages in the practices with loving kindness and compassion for the benefit of all sentient beings? It is those that come from the rank of the Bodhisattvas. So therefore, as a Bodhisattva, you are engaging in this practice. Let it be as though you were looking at those trenches with black, green, and blue plastic body bags. And then they're just like a garbage, just dumping the bodies into this trench, and then they would be covered over, decomposing. So as one is reciting, it's as though their consciousness are no longer bound in those bodies and in those bags. Just lifting up, rising up. Isn't so tragic and sorry that you died in such a horrible way. May you find peace and harmony and happiness and joy and be free. So in your mind's eye, you should go to Ukraine, go to the battlefield and see those trenches and all those bodies lying there. And many Doji Simpas sending out their blessings and the light. And again, like waves of light just rising into the space, being liberated. So as it may be, Sudogaya Mabua, Subogaya Mabua, Anarado Mabua, so a city memory as his other Kamasume. Setum Zitum Guru Home How Bagaman, Zawa Natagata, Badru Mani, Muzo, Pavana, Samaya Satu, Om I U Lili Lili O Anana Kaka Katana Tata Tatanga Tata Tatana Tata Tatana Papa Papa Yawalawa Shaka Tanasha Om Badu Badu Samaya Mano Manaya Badu Badu Dano Badu Tudokaya Mabova Tudokaya Mabova Anana Mabova City Tetra Yatu Zadum Guru Home Bhagavan Sawata Nagata Badiana Nemundon Tatua, Umedana Hidogarawa Hidogata, Lata the Gita, Yudua, the Comendima, Samana, Gumbo Jini Nije, Gumba, Jidam Jena Negazona, Namo Gumbo Gazoji, Dojo Jumbo Jene, Dola Zona Dagaji, Kunzo Don Zawada, Yegi, Damje, Namba, Damje, Dula Zanzo. So then you should visualize the Amrita being offered, Ratna being offered, candle, mandala, and food being offered. So the fulfillment, brief fulfillment in the Narakunta, or ineffable confession. Then offering light. Namge dadu daye zhenzhen nama be zhenzhen gunzhen gungude. Pama juju zhenzhen mabu ba zhenzhen jime zela zhenba yo. Om Badru Zata Samaya Manu Palaya Badru Zata Deno Pate Tude Nabova Tudogaya Nabova Tudogaya Nabova Anarada Nabova Dova Sili Mitraya Dada Namazu Tane Tadam Zirum Guru Om Ha 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 Hu Bhagavan Zavada Tagata Badranane Savana Samaya Zafu the Dhammapalas. So again, yourself as the Bodhisattva, reminding the Dhammapalas of the oath that they made with Guru Rinpoche. Say Namo Guru Be Namo Namse Ge Dando Gumbo Tren Tren Om Sri Benza Hera Ka Doje 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 dru tamze jeje jeme doje meze namge zoye gulu ze nyam Oma ozoma om om Sri Gova Vade Dvaye Jeje De Preche Gaza Sova Samdu Dvaye Kvaje Dvage Dvade Ge Chena Dvade Kvaje Dvade Sam Om Maha Gata Kumbo Gata Kumsu Eke Zade Momo Nunama Zache Baba Mene Nama Su Mamu Tamje Tamje Ge Deje Troda Doma Deje Da Naje 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 Tumana Pepe Neshe Tuma Suma Su Gije Pina Tuma Sune Tune Tune Samba Ye Chunzun Yujin Tuma Gine Gire Tune 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 Tuma Su Gije Tune 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 Baba Ye Nando Kage Toje Gato Tune Toje Kunde Kunde Tuje Chu Toje Dama Nade Teme Ku Tune Dama Nade Dama Chenan Sobe Danjo Rodunde Sasun Sasun Kasun Susun Gi Giba Gason Gi Gi Tande Tam Tama Bonde Tode Kunze Doje Doje Lengba Doje Je Sadu Chumbo Dhamma Doje Guru Nama Deje Gepa Nama Doge Kanda Toa Tubaje Jena Zambe Damje Toa Nama Toa Kuge Tanda Kajoje Jeje Joje Gaja Saso Lo Jeje Zamba Zamba Paje Rata Jende Kunde Tuba Tuba Yange Sunde Tuba Sri Redo Dhamma Tada Tuba Kuzense Mabo Guje De Tange Kunde Tuba Kesera Tudam Gago Nade Puda Tu Geje Yena Tuba Sune May you all be blessed with long life. May you all be blessed with all of that which you need to accomplish the highest realization for the benefit of all sentient beings. Sri 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 Nawa Danye Donye Jesu Seba Medo Dola Temeju Tadon Wando Dowe Baje Sabema Tune Nido Duwaga Tadon Gambo Sunda Duwame Zowa Damzo Gaje Baje So Genji Daje Jume Nudo So Om Mama Venise Wataye Guru Brahma Durya June Jana Anu Side Sri Sri Om Mama Venise Wataye Guru Brahma Durya June Jana Anu Side Sri Sri Om Mama Venise Wataye Guru Brahma Durya Onye Jana Anye Sidi Sri 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 Zombadu Zata Zamaya Manobalaya Badu Zatu Denova Didu Didu Nebova Dudogaya Mabova Dudogaya Mabova Anarada Nebova Dova Zire Nebaya Duzara Gama Dudame Zetum Zetum Guru Hum Ha Bhagavan Savara Bhagata Maruna Nemuzo Zente Bhavana Samaya Sadu Ha. Everything is contained within the aspect of Guru Rinpoche. And as Rinpoche, General Rinpoche was speaking about the various manifestations of the Guru, is that if we can't appeal or request the blessings of Guru Rinpoche to help us during the difficult times, this Kali Yuga, we have no one else to depend upon, no one else to really who can be of help. Now, we're speaking again at a metaphorical. Please don't expect, oh, Guru Rinpoche, please stop war, please stop all the suffering, stop all the killing. Guru Rinpoche says, if you want to stop, then why don't you stop? You ask for the blessings to change, and the blessings come, but you don't change. So therefore, the blessings you receive only compound your misery. And as long as you wish to dwell in your misery, then you will never reap the blessings that come. But the moment you make a decision, I will change, starting with myself, then perhaps it is the butterfly effect, and change will come without. Duzu zange guru renda je guru ganda dewa jambo ja baje gunso dudu dudu sa zowa dudu jenje la duso. Chenan zawe bade jowa dan zana loge jowa jenje do. Duzu zange guru renda je guru ganda dewa jambo ja baje gunso dudu dudu sa zowa dudu jenje la duso. Chenan zawe bade jowa dan zana loge jowa jenje lo. Duzu zange guru renda je guru ganda dewa jambo ja 바지 근서도도 보사 고바도 소진제 라도 소 지난다베 바도 주와다 삼바도게 주바 진제고 도도승게 구로는 도제 구로근다도 정보사 바지 근서도도 보사 고바도 소진제 라도 소 주는 사마데 주나 도도승게 구로는 도제 구로근다도 정보사 무슨 고바도 소진제 라도 고바도 진제 라도 소 지난 사마 도도승게 구로는 도제 구로근다도 정보사 무슨 고바도 소진제 라도 소 지난 사마 바도 주나 사마도게 도도승게 구로는 도제 구로근다도 정보사 바지 근서도도 보사 고바도 소진제 라도 소 지난 사마 바도 주나 사마도게 주바 진제 누가 진제 라 Again, Master Guru Rinpoche said, Sogel Rinpoche, Yeshe Sogel, if you wish to be constant in your practice, then cut your attachments directly. When the forbidding armies of super knowledge arrive, surround yourself with the iron wall of seeing them as illusions. When you get angry at an unfriendly word, seek the source of that echo. To develop the wakefulness of vipassana, direct seeing, use sights and sounds as method. If you wish to perfect the strength of experience, develop your skills through enhancement practice. Te no home. Rest in the unfabricated wakeful state, neither coming or going. What arrives and dwells is peace. As the Master is pointing out, is merely an illusion, like the clouds drifting in the blueness of the vastness of space. Looking at the clouds the other day and seeing them white and puffy, they seem to stay. Where do those clouds originate from? Nothing other than the space in which they dwell. Rest. Gently breathe. If you practice with the devotion and the faith and the trust, with consistency and commitment, with the proper motivation and intention, then things will change. Things are changing anyway. It is the nature and the order of this multiverse, cosmos. Focus on the good and be informed of that which we call negative. As one teacher says, to be informed but not inundated to the point where one feels helpless. Helpless is a choice that one makes, and therefore one can make a choice of being beneficial, productive, and always arising, loving kindness and compassion, even in the midst of your tears. The wonderful gift that we have is that of the awareness and the consciousness to choose. But sometimes we're lazy. We choose what's familiar. Suffering is familiar, and to a degree, we become addicted to it. So when the master says, let go of your attachment, let go of attachment to our conditional suffering and be free. Gyawaji, doji simba juju ne, doma nyanyo nyanyo pa, dine shela kyu pa, sho. Genway genwa genwa tanga to bada no wa mado to wa ne, timbre timbon tanja gajoji, timbre gajo bado de goji. Lumega ne gazo nenjoji, gambo gonjo mado goji. Yebe mise gajo natene, najo do najo ta. So. Om Su De Zenge Ren Zenge Ge Bokule Ni De Ga Do Do Na De Ba Ye Den Be Ren Be Do Jo Jo Ba Na Zen Ben Den Zenge Zen Do Nyen Den Tren Le Me Ze Ge Ryo Ga Do De Do Nam Ga Zo Tren Le Do Go Je So Nam De Ye Dem Je Jo Ba Ye De Je Ne Be Dan Je Zen 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 Ge Je No Je Ba Da Do Ba Ye She Be Su De Jo Wa Jo Wa Jo Zhan Ba Ru Do Den Dan Den Ba Dan Gun Do Zon Bo Den Ye De She De that the gunja deja dunja give what did the dunja to go. About then the megon said about the going you what they kill you what the dozen mother they don't doesn't get to banjo. Then baby girl I may say that doesn't give us a dinner like a demon no natural bucket then by your ring up a Tashito. Then the bed and jet on the bazar, then bed and there's a maiden, so may not be a bazar deba. So do some good basic good, gentle, then go to Boje, Baggy, Banam, Gaguja, Banam, Bande, Baye, what they going to do bad. Cause all the don't wait, don't do, go ye dojo, and Beja dojo, not drove about it, make us so the bottom that I see that. Daya da unga de got de better some get the bodies for Daya the munga de got the better some get the bodies for Daya the munga de got the better some get the bodies so let go of what is past and let go of what may come. Let go of what is occurring right now. Don't try to figure anything out. Relax right now. Take a rest. Then maybe the last thought I give to myself, maybe you want to take it on also. Today, I invite you to be human, not just human. I invite you to be human being and have peace and harmony and the joy and love, starting with yourself and then radiate it out like a brilliant sun, which I believe is outside now for the benefit of all sentient beings. So, monsieur, madame, à bientôt, bonsoir, have a wonderful day, bye-bye. So happy to see you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Rinpoche.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Rinpoche.
Everyone.
Rinpoche.
Bye-bye, Rinpoche. Bye-bye. Sashi delay.
Oh, see you soon. Lama soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rinpoche.